Hi there. So I've been waiting for the wind to die down in this area of the UK where I live in the northeast of England, so I could give you a tour of my garden, but there's no sign of it dying off anytime soon. So I thought today I'm just going to go out and I'm going to try and give you a tour of the garden. So I'm hoping that for anybody new to my channel, new to my garden, this tour will sort of help you to see how different areas of the garden sort of link together, because my garden is made up of lots of smallish different areas and they all have their own sort of characteristics. So some are south facing, brilliant sunshine, others are dapple shade, other areas have no soil and they are complete shade. So I hope that you can relate to some part of the garden, and if not, I just hope you enjoy the video anyway. So let's go. So we'll start outside the wall of my house. So we've got two borders cultivated years and years ago, which are these borders here. And I don't buy plants specifically to put in these borders, or very rarely. I tend to put overspill plants from the garden in here when I'm splitting plants and I haven't got anywhere else to put them. I would pop them in here. I used to have some huge lavenders in here. So I've got some lovely plants here. Some nice euphorbia there, lipstick, pink wallflowers, big clumps of oxeye daisy, lots of wallflowers, poppies, some Jerusalem sage there. So now we'll go into the garden itself. So this border here is quite interesting at the front of the house. It's nice and sunny, and it's actually soil laid over the top of a concrete path that went all the way around, and we didn't dig the concrete path out. We just tipped the soil, which we'd excavated from the back of the house where we put a huge pond. We put that soil into this area here and planted it out. And I wasn't quite sure how the plants were going to take to it, but I mean, we've got plants with quite deep roots. We've got Cosmea lucifer, oxeye daisy, we've got roses, we've got a buddleia here, lots of iris. And they all seem to grow fine. And I thought, well, if any plants don't like the sort of shallow root run, then I'll just dig them out. We've got some alliums coming up there. What else have we got? We've got Sweet William around the front. Persicaria Fats Domino in that corner, that's beautiful. So this area here was an area of the garden that was always just forgotten. It was where I put overspill plants into, and this is a gorgeous ornamental cherry that's just yesterday started to come into flower. And the greenhouse there was only installed, we built that there last November. So everything, all the plants that were in that area, I dug out, lovingly potted up, and they lived over the winter on my drive behind my husband's car. So about 6 weeks ago, I thought, right, I'm going to start cultivating this woodland area. So it didn't used to have a path through, so I've created a path. All these trees along here, they are lilacs, and they will be coming into flower very soon. Let me see if I can pull a branch down and show you. Yes, that's them there. So this is just a beautiful long run of lilac trees that spill over the front wall. But if we have a look here, this side here is always in deep shade. It never gets any sunlight. So, and it was also right up to here, all the way along. It was just covered in this ivy here. So it had never really been cultivated. And I used to get some lily of the valley growing in this area. But a few weeks ago, I dug all the ivy out. It still will creep forward into the borders, but I'll just keep pulling it out. So now I've got lots of wild garlic. I planted that in the garden years ago, and it's just creeps around. I've got allium. I've planted amimajus and foxgloves. I've transplanted hellebores from the bit of the garden at the back of the house where I'm creating a white garden this year. So all these pots of lovely plants are the ones that I dug out before we put the foundations for the greenhouse in. I've got a couple of roses there. So all these pots will be going in this woodland area. So here I've got a beautiful anemone. Oh, it just feels like velvet. It's gorgeous. Always bluebells. The same along here. So I've got trays of foxgloves to go out. I've got lots of lupins. So in this area here, this gets dapple shade under the leaf canopy of this beautiful cherry. I have a Clematis montana hanging in the cherry tree there. So planting wise, I've planted lupins. I've got a peony there, New Zealand satinflower. That is Japanese anemone. I transplanted a beautiful rose there and then surrounded it with lupins that I grew from seed. This plant here with the really tall stem going all the way up, that's about, must be 7 foot tall, that. It's towering above my head. That is a beautiful yellow helenium. That is Michaelmas daisy down there. And then this is all the lily of the valley. Gorgeous. So I feel quite happy this time of year, so we're approaching the middle of April now, to get into the borders, knowing that anything that was hibernating will have woken up by now, hopefully, and scurried off. And I found this watering can was completely buried under weeds. And when you look in, can you see there's a tiny little nest in there? So that's been a field mouse living in there. I don't think there's been a bird in, so I just left it where it was. That area at the back there planted out with amimajus and foxgloves. So as we come round into this area here at the back of the greenhouse, we come upon these two massive rhododendrons. And you will be forgiven for thinking that this is going to be a beautiful red rhododendron. So about 12 years ago, I went to the Creef Garden Centre, I think it was called. It's closed down now. It was on the Creef Road in Perthshire, where we were holidaying. So she said, "Oh, this is a beautiful one. It's beautiful in yellow." Like a really vibrant golden yellow. So I thought, oh, I've never seen that before. So I bought my tub with a few dead looking sticks in and brought it home. And the following year, it presented me with these buds. And I thought, oh, she's made a mistake. It's a red one. But you must come back in, say, a week and a half's time. I'll take another bit of footage. These buds open up and the outside of the rhododendron flower stays blush pink, and the inside, the massive flower, is the most beautiful golden yellow. Oh, gorgeous. And then this rhododendron here is which the buds are much more tightly closed on this. This is the deepest red. It's beautiful. Right, and then we come round here. So I've planted all this area out as well. So I've got a lovely poppy coming up here, tubs of tulips, some geum, amimajus. I've planted wallflowers all along here. Now this border here is all herbaceous perennials in here. And you can see, you know, I haven't been in and tidied it out. I haven't sort of cut the old seed heads back, but every day I come out, it's almost as though it's inflating. So I do need to get out here and get in amongst it before it gets much taller. Cut the stems back, but everything that needs to be moved has been moved, and there's just pockets of earth that I can see where I can plant out foxgloves and things. So I have got some gorgeous forget-me-nots coming up here. That is a miscanthus. I've got hellebores. This is a astrantia. This is Jacob's ladder. Then I've got brunnera. I've got wallflowers. I don't know what you call that plant. It's like a huge thistle. I've also, if you can see, there's a metal obelisk there with a spike sticking up. Now what is that called? I'll think of it and come back to you with that. Oh, this is another lilac tree that spills over. And I also have a beautiful old rose just here, a pink rose with the most beautiful perfume, and he spills over the wall outside. All the way along the back there, I've planted out amimajus. I've got delphinium, I've got lupins, oxeye daisy, a big clump of achillea there, some euphorbia, which you've really got to watch euphorbia. It just takes over a border. So I'll just wait until he's sort of faded and then pull him out, because he always pops up every year. I've got goldenrod at the back there. That's the stems off the goldenrod. Two big lovely hydrangeas there. That big clump there is monarda. I've got persicaria in here. Now over in this border here, so this border's all done. I dug him out and worked him over at the end of last year, and there's a video out on him. So I've got a clematis that climbs up my water barrel, and then I've put mesh all the way up the side of the conservatory there, and he'll grow up there. I've got lots of beautiful different varieties of geranium, some alstroemeria, a big clump of sweet william, lots of foxgloves, New Zealand satinflower, which this is one of the most favourite flowers in my garden. It's beautiful. Please do come back if just to see this. It's gorgeous. It gets like a sort of miniature orchid, a white flower. It's beautiful. And then over here I've got this beautiful peony that's about to flower. This is a deep red one. So you go up the garden here. Now this border here, as you can see, this is quite a shady border. So I'll put a picture up of what this border is like in the summer. So these are Sarah Bernhardt peonies here and here. This beautiful plant here is Solomon seal. And you didn't used to be able to see the Solomon seal because I used to have a huge shrub in this area, but I dug him out last year. Then over in this part of the border under the tree, I have more euphorbias popped up, and then all this beautiful begonia. It's lovely. It just gives a lovely splash of palest pink with the lemon primroses there. This is an angle from the side of my drive as you come in the gate here, up the side drive. So I've got a lovely pink heather there. And then this lovely shrub, which I don't know the name of, but he's got sort of like a, how would you describe that colour? It's really like a very deep copper colour when the leaves are mature, with a pink flower on. He's beautiful. And I can see I've got self-seeded honesty there underneath him. Aria, iris, then the lupins are going to come up there. I've got a beautiful clematis that grows all the way up this tree, and I've just transplanted at the base there another clematis montana. And then we come round to this area at the top of my drive, which is in front of the garage. So there is no soil here. Nobody uses the garage to put the car in. So years ago I thought, right, I'm just going to start container gardening here. So I've got a lovely crabapple tree there with a clematis growing up the back of him, and I've just popped an acer into behind him there to give a bit of colour. And this cart that we're looking at here, dear me, that wind. The cart that you're looking at there, I made out of an old garden lounger, and that's where I keep all the plants that I buy and that I'm going to put into the garden. Some lovely tulips opening there. They're gorgeous, aren't they? With the blue mascari, and then down to this lovely mauve and white coloured tulip, and this gorgeous heuchera. I think he's called green spice. Some more tulips to open up there. And then I've got a nice astilbe. All my hostas, which again I only split a week ago. They're unrecognisable. They were just poking their little tips through the soil when I split them. Viola freckles. I've got wallflowers. These tulips are beautiful. I can't believe that they've withstood a week's worth of this wind. Amazing. And then a lovely heuchera marmalade, some lovely yellow tulips, it looks like, coming up there. I've got a lovely clematis that's winding its way through this old branch here that's just freestanding. I just brought it down off the hills one year, and I've had it ever since. Right, so now we are going to go through into this little area here, which is a little courtyard area, and it's where my rotor stack is, where I hang my washing out. It's always in the deepest shade, and it is one of my most favourite parts of the garden. So don't be shocked when you see the state that it's in at the moment. So I'm going to put a picture up of what this little courtyard area looks like when I've dressed it. And it looks the way it does at the moment because we've had extensive water damage at the back of the house caused by leaky guttering. So I knew the builders were going to come in, the roofers were going to come in and put ladders or scaffolding or whatever they use to get up to the top of the house. So it was pointless me starting to dress it because these tubs are all big and heavy. If I then had to move them all. So it is a mess at the moment, but it doesn't take me long to dress it all out. So this little courtyard area used to be, it was just basically the bin store. When we first moved in here, we used to keep the bins along here. I have my rotor stack here. It's high traffic. We get the pushchair out here through into the garden and down the drive. We get to the side garage, so you can see it's constantly being used. I will put links to the Courtyard series. If you go to my homepage and have a look on the playlists, there is a Courtyard series where I show you how I dress this area throughout the year. But I basically use acers, hostas, heucheras, any shade-loving plant like Brunnera, pulmonaria, anything like that, because although it looks sunny there, we are only 9:30 in the morning, and by about 10 o'clock, this area here will look like this area here. It's deep shade for the rest of the day, so it gets very watery morning sun. This area here is in sun the longest. So I have lots of ferns. They all come up within about, I would say, 2 weeks of each other. These ones are way ahead, and he will grow right the way up here, about 3 foot tall, and spill over. All these ferns are years old. And then we have ferns that they don't even look as if they're alive at the moment, but I know they are. So all these will unfurl. Got a great big tub over here. This is just an old recycling tub with holes in the bottom. So these are all the curled up fronds of fern. The 3 big ferns in there. So when these ferns come up, they grow right, they sort of cover this black area here. And you might be interested to have a look back at the Courtyard series, because this time last year I spent most of my time painting brickwork and fences. This brickwork used to be bright red, and these fences, I made a mistake. The brown was an orangey brown, so I painted lots of things black last year. The acers, these are beautiful. These again are years old, all different colours. Also, once the roofers had finished, we had the back of the house painted. So there's been lots of work going on here, but it's just the way it is, isn't it? You know, you get something on your roof needs repairing in the winter, and they can't get up there because of the weather, so they have to wait until the wind sort of dies down. So I can't wait to get into this area and start dressing it. I'll probably either do that either tomorrow or the next day, and I will make a video on it. But if you want to have a look in the meantime, I'll put links to the Courtyard series in the description box below, and you can have a little browse. And then we come round to the last part of my garden, which is where I'm creating a white garden. And I'm so delighted with this area. So this is the back of the garage, which I painted black. I painted the fences black. So this area of my garden has been all sorts over the years. The whole area used to be a pond about 14, 15 years ago. Then when the grandchildren came along, we got rid of the pond, built a Wendy house, had it turfed. They never played in it, so we took that away. And after that, it really didn't have an identity. It was beautiful, but slightly overgrown and a bit like the Woodland garden. I used to sort of put plants here where I didn't know where else to put them. So I'll show you a picture of what it used to be like over the years. I haven't got a picture of the pond. So it looks quite sheltered, doesn't it? But actually over there are hills and the farmers' fields, and then the sea is just behind that tower there. So in this area here, you get a sort of typhoon effect. So the wind comes and swirls around, and that's why a lot of these beautiful narcissus are lying over on their side. So originally last year, I was going to put the greenhouse in this area, but after much deliberation, I changed my mind. So the greenhouse is around the side now. So I thought, right, what do I fancy doing in this area? So we dug, if you can see where the white paving stones are there, they're new. That was all soil, and that was how big the border was. This side of the garden is deep shade all day. It never ever goes into sunlight. And this border here, depending on the time of year and how high the sun is in the sky, stays in south facing sunlight. But sort of as we get into July, August, this will stay in sunshine up to about there for much longer. So again, I'll put links in the description box to the different videos where I sort of chronicle the development of the white garden, also known as a moon garden. So a moon garden is a garden mainly laid out with white or very light plants that you can enjoy in the evening. You tend to go for plants that are highly perfumed, which I have. And I've got lots of new interesting plants that I've just planted out in this area. I was gifted them for my birthday by my husband. So I've got big clumps of fern coming up here, and then I've planted out these beautiful, beautiful narcissus. They're just gorgeous. I did try to come around and sort of hold them, support them, but it's just too windy. And then I've got alliums at the back there. I think they're white giant, white primroses. I think this is called Dicentra. It's bleeding heart, a white bleeding heart. I've planted white pulmonaria. This is more sweet woodruff with the most beautiful smell. A geranium fame there. I've put in this new, I just bought this one a couple of weeks ago. This is a beautiful aqualesia. He's going to stay short. Some of my aqualesias grow really, really tall. A lovely white wallflower and a primula there. And then all the way around, I've sort of tried to plant plants that will creep over and soften the edges of this stone here. That is a new white climbing rose that I've planted, and that is white phlox. My sister Kathleen bought me this white rhododendron, which is called Arctic fern, and we think it's dwarf. He's all in bud. They are white iris. Gorgeous tulips here, aren't they beautiful? They're almost peony-like. So palest lemon, and then they fade to white. Lovely tulips there. They're gorgeous. Oh, and I bought this little white rose as well. Popped him in. Some London Pride, the parent plant of the white pulmonaria. A lovely fern coming up there, and then Solomon seal in the corner there. And then under the conservatory window, I've just planted it out with tubs of narcissus. I've had these narcissus for years. So when they're finished, I just deadhead them. I let the stems die down, and then I give them a feed of either tomato food or liquid seaweed. It feeds the bulbs, and then when they're all finished and you take all the dead foliage out, you can either just lay other plants on top. I quite often do that, or if you've got room, you can just store the you can store the tub of bulbs somewhere out of sight, out of mind until this time next year. All my hostas are coming up here. So this display here is east facing. So again, it doesn't get much sun at all, very early morning light. But that's a good thing with these narcissus, because it means that all your bulbs and that will last for so much longer than if they were in full sun. So I've got a nice brunnera down there. This is an unusual hellebore. Some palest lemon wallflowers and an aquilegia. Some more bulbs and brunnera, and then a great big pot of Solomon's seal. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed this first tour of my garden on this extremely windy day. Thank you so much for watching the video. And if you've enjoyed it, I'd love it if you came back and visited again, and you can see how the garden develops throughout the year. So I hope you're having a lovely time in your gardens, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you next time. Bye.